The game ended, fans departed, and players were collapsed on the pitch. A crushing 0-3 defeat to Brighton eliminated Arsenal's chance for the championship, and the head coach of the Gunners became the laughingstock of the British media. People unearthed old news about Arteta, weaponizing one of his inspirational speeches, blasting "You'll never walk alone" during practice, and employing a dog named Victory to motivate the players, all to mock a coach who held the top spot in the Premier League for 246 days but lost the championship in the end. In the crowd, only one old man stepped forward, continuing to support his finest apprentice unconditionally. Why so? The story starts with a disastrous defeat. In September 2011, Arsenal suffered a humiliating 8-2 defeat against Manchester United. Key players left one after another, the team's league performance plummeted, and the massive debt incurred from building a stadium crippled the steps of the Gunners. How to break the deadlock? Wenger, then the head coach of the Gunners, had only one solution: to keep the team competitive with high-value new players. Among these recruits, Arteta, who cost millions, was undoubtedly his favorite pupil. For Arsenal, the Spanish midfielder was willing to accept a salary cut. For Arsenal, Arteta became the hardest working player on the team. He trained diligently even when injured, with a leadership charisma that captivated everyone. By the time people realized, Wenger and his protege Arteta had already lifted several trophies for Arsenal under limited circumstances. But was Arteta doing all this just for Arsenal? After 5 years of service to the Gunners, the Spanish player, once a key player now only a backup sitting on the bench at 34, had already transformed from being an executor of Wenger's beautiful football tactics to a bench warmer. He could only watch the old coach struggle, year after year, in the Champions League and the Premier League with a limited budget, and seemed helpless facing harsh demands from the board. However, compared to worrying about Wenger, Arteta needed to consider his own speed, strength, and explosive advantages, all things he prided himself on. As time slowly passed, it was Wenger who stepped up during Arteta's moments of confusion, offering him a new possibility. He encouraged Arteta to command his teammates on the training field, engage in coaching courses, and share his tactical ideas. In doing so, Wenger had his own plan. He is Arsenal's best guardian, but as everyone grows old, Arsenal would inevitably have to bid farewell to their gunner. With the Frenchman's departure, the Gunners were likely to fall into upheaval again. Even if there was only a 1% chance, why couldn't the person to rescue Arsenal be Arteta? Arteta understood Wenger, but he also knew that to become Wenger's successor, he needed to be well prepared. Thus started a meticulously planned course of action. After retiring, he promptly went to serve as an assistant coach under his close friend Guardiola. But his days at the Etihad Stadium were not only filled with learning, but also a touch of bitterness. As the captain of the Gunners, he could only watch helplessly as Arsenal repeatedly fell, watched Guardiola and Wenger argue fiercely, and watched Wenger bid farewell to the Gunners amidst fans, abuses, and regrets. Watching the rise and fall left a taste in Arteta's mouth, but all he could do was accept it. Meanwhile, a grand opportunity was slowly approaching him. In 2018, The Guardian revealed to the public that Arsenal was planning to invite Arteta to replace Wenger as the new head coach. Even Guardiola openly stated, "If Arteta chooses to leave, I will be sad, but I won't stop him." All signs were pointing to Arteta becoming Arsenal's new savior. However, the Spaniard himself resolutely refused the opportunity, preferring to watch from the sidelines. What was he waiting for? The answer was unveiled a year later. In 2019, when then Arsenal coach Emery had to leave his post abruptly, Arteta stepped forward just as everyone was wondering who could save Arsenal when he made his first appearance as the head coach at Emirates Stadium. This beloved pupil of Wenger and acclaimed captain of the Gunners finally solved the enigma that had resided in his heart for a year. "If I wasn't ready, I wouldn't be sitting here today," he said. Arteta knew more than anyone that rebuilding Arsenal wasn't the work of a day. It required thorough preparation. The moments certainly seemed right, but reviving the Gunners proved more challenging than expected. In the first 3 seasons as coach, Arteta and the new Gunners were still in a crawl-under-your-belly phase. But no matter how tough the road ahead was, Wenger, who had been reluctant to return to the Emirates, always showed his support for Arteta in media interviews. He knew that the new Gunners and Arteta needed time, and as a fan himself, he felt the need to express his support for his apprentice. In the 2022-23 season, when the Gunners won the mid-season championship, and Arteta began to be gradually hailed as a member of the promising young generation by outsiders, an elderly figure with grey hair stepped into Emirates Stadium. His Saturday at the furthest place from Arteta, watched him command the team from the sidelines, watched his young Gunners run swiftly on the field, and then smiled happily. Wenger knew well that even if the Gunners were to face all sorts of challenges in the future, and Arteta would face contentious judgments just like himself, faced with heavy skepticism and occasional ridicule due to unexpected mishaps, none of these tribulations were destined to defeat Arteta, because he knew better than anyone that when you encounter someone in your life who shines like the sun, even if you can't catch up with them easily, you will still learn to be like them, face failures with no intent of turning back, and seek the future named light under the sun.